February 2001, Snowshoe Township, Pennsylvania. A gas station clerk begins his night shift. His name is Avinash Kaushal, 52 years old, a quiet man working hard to support his life in the U.S. as a recent immigrant from India. But by the time the sun rises, Avinash will be dead, beheaded, left on the floor of a Citgo convenience store. The man who did it, 38-year-old Erik Jerome Fant, says God told him to. Underwear, alcohol, syphilis, murder, forbidden.
Wow. Okay, and he was beheaded?
He was beheaded, yes.
Oh no, that's always the worst.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story about that later, but first I'm going to welcome everyone to Forbidden, the podcast where we
Hang
discuss
on.
the dark.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
You just casually have a story about beheading that you're going to share
Yes.
later?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Intro us.
Yes. Welcome to Forbidden, the podcast where we discuss the dark, obviously, the disgusting, and the disgraceful. In our unmentionables, we've slipped into something more comfortable and hope you are doing the same, listener, with a drink in hand. Welcome. My name is Amanda Kamada.
And I'm Blake Roberts.
And this is our limited series, Dead End, where the open road takes a dark turn, haunted truck stops, disappearances, on desolated highways, and other hidden dangers that lurk just beyond the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot to be talked about here tonight. I'm quite sure.
And I think this sort of theme always sticks with me because, and maybe it's because I've done so many like long drives alone that
Really?
yeah. When I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, I would drive home like to and from over like the holiday break or summer or whatever to visit family. It's like
Hmm.
I want to say it's like a 17-hour drive if I remember correctly. So
That's a really long drive.
yeah, and I typically would stop, although there was one time I tried to drive through. But it's just sort of creepy when you're doing it alone. It's fun. Like I really enjoyed it. I love driving alone on road
Mm.
trips and just like jamming out to a playlist and singing and all that fun stuff. But it can be creepy too.
I feel like the only time that I've ever driven alone was when I drove from my home in high school to college, but then I rarely went home or went back to my parents' house. Like I dislike the town that I grew up in so much that like I made it a point to only go back there when absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Um, so, shout out to anyone else who lives there right now. Megan, my sister, I mean, she knows I don't like the place. I mean, I don't have fond memories and that sort of thing. People have different experiences in different places, but
Yeah.
it was only like a 4.5 hour drive or something like that. So it didn't, it wasn't like a 17-hour drive. And I know that I drove like my car behind somebody on my way to Seattle who was driving a moving truck. So I didn't feel like I was by myself
Right.
per se. Like I was by myself in the car to do the playlist and all the fun things.
You were in a
Yeah, but
convoy.
I was in a convoy. I was. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Before we get started, what are we wearing and drinking this
I was
evening?
I
What
mean, I
are we
was going to
doing?
ask you the same question. So,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
I'm drinking a red wine. I have a Nebbiolo, and I'm wearing a robe. And shock, I'm wearing a thong. I've been on a thong kick lately. I don't know
When were you not on the thong kick?
Generally, I'm just
Is
like a
the
chubby
better
whitey's guy.
is the better question. But I am drinking a North High Tonics prickly. I don't know why it's
It's
not
all
focusing
blurry.
in on it. Yeah, prickly pear. Maybe it's because it's got, oh, it's a prickly pear, lime THC drink that is absolutely delicious, by the way. I'm really getting into these THC drinks. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And I've gone back this evening and I must show the underboob and all of the in all of their glory. I'm wearing blue tonight because the Knicks are playing the Indiana Pacers, and I know that you don't like sports
Go
matches, but
team.
go team.
Yay
I'm wearing
sports.
blue. Yes, I'm wearing blue for the Knicks, hoping it's kind of a do or die night for them.
Mm.
It's out of 7 games right now, and if they lose tonight, they are going to be out of it. If they win, then it will move on to the next game, and they still have a chance of making it to the NBA Finals. So this is really, like a clutch evening. So I'm wearing Knicks blue this evening.
Well, I'm just completely glazed over. None of
Yes.
this means anything to me. There's sports, there's boobs.
I know. It's everything that you don't wish for in life.
It's lost on me, Amanda, but I appreciate your appreciation for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Did you have a good Memorial Day? I guess we
Uh,
can talk about it later, but
yeah, let's get into that.
happy belated. I'm very excited to start this new series and cannot wait to hear what you have to say tonight because I feel like this is a very open subject, that can be interpreted like different ways, and so I'm very excited to see how our stories kind of mesh together, or if they mesh, if they are very different. I don't know. I'm just very excited about this one.
There's a lot we can do. It's like you said, it's open, it's loose, it's stretched out.
Yeah, just like me.
Yeah, we can squeeze a lot of things into this concept.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Well, I'll give you the stage then.
yeah, so I had just a few sources here. The PSU Collegian .com, an article from Advocate and Democrat.com. I actually had two articles from that website. And then the PoconoRecord.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
So the Poconos, remind me, are they both in New York and in Pennsylvania? Is that how it kind of rolls? Like it's kind of like the Ozarks that are in Arkansas and in Missouri.
I that's a good question. I also feel like maybe I think it's like New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Okay. I could buy into either one of those, but was just curious because it had a Poconos, one of your sources. So was just curious.
Well, I have driven through there so many times in my history in New York, but for some reason I just don't remember. This section of Pennsylvania where the story takes place, Snowshoe, is like right in like almost the very middle of Pennsylvania. So
Hmm.
it's like, and the reason why I chose this story, and I mentioned this briefly in the last episode, was that we used to take Interstate 80 from New York into Pennsylvania on the way to visit Josh's family, and we would always leave after work, like at the end of a work week before the holidays or whatever. So we're leaving after dark in the wintertime, and we're driving across Pennsylvania on a rural highway. And Josh would always recount this story to me, and it just sort of it felt like a ghost story the way he would tell it, and it was partially because of settings. You have to picture like driving down like a windy interstate. There's no street lights, so it's just you're driving by headlight alone, and you can't see beyond like the line in the road. Maybe it's like snowy because it's the holidays, and it's
Could be a little bit of fog.
picture it fog, and not much traffic at this time of night, so it feels pretty quiet. And he would always tell me when we're driving by Snowshoe about this story and how it terrified him because he was in Pennsylvania at college at the time that this happened. He went to Penn State, which is not too far away from there.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, so that's sort of the setup. That's why I went with the story. And you drive through the Poconos to get to Snowshoe, but as far as I know, Snowshoe is beyond the Poconos. Anyway, it's not far from State College, which is where Penn State is. So, and I'm looking at a map. Let me get you back up here so I can look at you as I'm telling this story. Okay, so Erik Jerome Fant didn't just kill Avinash Kaushal, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. You know, I love my Bollywood movies, but I'm from Oklahoma, so forgive me.
They can be difficult to enunciate
They
for
can,
sure.
yes.
Yes.
So not only did Fant kill Kaushal, he made him lie down on the floor of the Sitco station, robbed the cash register, and then used a 2-foot machete to slash the back of his neck, severing his head with horrifying precision.
Oh my God.
At his plea hearing, Fant was calm. He answered the judge's questions without hesitation and even smiled for photographers. When asked why he did it, he didn't blink. Quote, God told me to kill him. God told me to plead guilty. But Kaushal wasn't Fant's only victim. This was just one step on a cross-country spree that began in South Carolina and ended in handcuffs on a cold New Jersey highway shoulder. So before Snowshoe, Fant stole a blue Chevrolet Lumina on February 7th in Berkeley County, South Carolina. He then headed to Deering, Georgia, where Fant murdered 65-year-old Dorothy C. Street in her home, striking her repeatedly in the head and neck with the same machete. Her body was discovered shortly after. One day later, Fant crossed into his home state of Tennessee. After passing through Chattanooga, he walked into the Highway 68 Western Wear store in the town of Sweetwater, just as the manager, 42-year-old Annette Richson, was opening up. He spoke to her briefly, then he pulled out the machete and demanded her purse and jewelry. She gave them to him. Fant hit her between 8 and 9 times with the blade before departing for Pennsylvania. 2 store employees found Richson lying on the floor, partially under a rack of clothing, at 9:53 a.m., just before the store's opening time. Somehow she survived.
Holy shit. Are you kidding me? After being hit that many times with the machete?
Yeah, she wound up in critical care and she had cuts like to her hands and her arms, and I think maybe there was some minor cuts to her head as well.
Mm.
So, fast forward the day after killing Avinash Kaushal, Fant continued east along I 80. Somewhere near New Jersey, he pulled over to rest. In a routine highway patrol stop, state troopers found him asleep behind the wheel, parked on an off ramp. After being awakened by the police, he fled. So he's still in his car, and he just takes off. And basically, they're on a 10-mile police chase at this time. So he goes for 10 miles. When they finally stopped him in Knowlton Township, officers found blood on his clothes, Richardson's jewelry, and the machete. Fant confessed to everything. In police interviews, Fant called himself Allah's beast. He told officers that he asked each of his victims the same question before attacking. Who is your Lord?
No.
Uh-huh. How terrifying.
Yes.
Like, what if you picked
And
the wrong
you
one?
Well, and you know that nobody was, particularly where he killed these people, nobody was going to say Allah if that's what he was looking for.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's just, I mean, I grew up in the fucking Bible Belt, right? So, and it's not that difficult to get into the Bible Belt in multiple places that you are outside of large cities, and just being in the United States in general, I would think that the majority of the population leads more towards Christianity than anything. So more than likely they were toast before, like, he even asked that question, because he knew that nobody was going to say what he wanted to hear.
Yeah. Do you remember you've seen Ghostbusters, right?
Yes.
remember that line toward the end of the movie when they're like in the final battle and what you call it, that like Russian ballet dancer woman with like the crazy eyes and hair. I forget,
Right.
Zool or whatever, Gozer, whatever, asks Dan Aykroyd, "Are you a god?" And then he answers no. And everyone's like, "Why would you answer that way?" This is different because it's like, who is your god?
Hmm.
And there's a lot to choose from, you know.
Right.
Ganesh, I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. I would say none, and then I'd probably still get
Beheaded.
I would still get beheaded.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So authorities say he showed no remorse. He was calm, detailed, and disturbingly lucid. District Attorney Roy Greikar, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, wanted the death penalty, but he feared Fant's mental illness would lead to a not guilty verdict by reason of insanity. Instead, Fant was offered life without parole and took the deal. Kaushal's family agreed to the plea. It avoided the uncertainty, am I saying that? Uncertainty of a trial. It
Mhm.
guaranteed Fant would never walk free, but it didn't explain the why. So they just didn't get a trial, you know?
Mhm.
Kaushal's wife, Nina, was flown to the US from Delhi, so she's not even here. She wasn't even with him.
Oh god, that's terrible.
Yeah. So imagine that
So he
life.
was basically working to support a family back in India, more than likely, and then having to take that flight to recover your husband's remains. Oh my god.
Yeah. So he had only been in the US for 5 months on a work visa when Fant took his life. So she probably hadn't seen him, in that time. And then having to take that long flight from India to Pennsylvania
Oh my
must have
god.
been
That'd be horrible.
fine. At the Center County Courthouse, Judge Charles C. Brown sentenced Fant to life in prison. He also ordered Fant to pay $6,000 restitution, which is sort of
Nothing?
like what was that number? Like I'm so curious about how they arrived at $6,000.
Yeah, I agree. Was it once for every month he was in the United States? I mean, that's like at that that's an first of all, that's an egregious number. It's egregiously
For the
low
cost of a life.
for the cost of a life. Not that he would be able to pay it back anyway. I
Yeah,
mean, let's face it, like there's no money coming out of prison,
right.
but still, like how do you come up with $6,000? That's such an innocuous number.
Yeah, and it's just sort of a strange footnote to this like terrible story,
Yeah.
So before his multi-state crime spree in 2001, Eric Jerome Fant had already faced serious charges in his home state of Tennessee. In 1996, Fant was one of 3 men accused of murdering a carpet store employee in Memphis. However, the case never made it to trial. Charges against Fant and another defendant were eventually dropped, and the third suspect was acquitted after a witness failed to identify him in court. I couldn't find much on this, but I just thought he's already been accused of murder, regardless of how that played out. Like, this guy's out. And God
What year
knows,
did this what year did this
1996
happen?
was the first, and then 2001 is so basically there's a 5 year gap there with who knows what he did in that period.
Well, and I'm seeing some sort of I'm seeing some sort of pattern, in all of this. Um when it comes to crimes that have happened that are say more than I'm just going to throw out a number 20 years old or something like
Yeah.
that there are so many times, you know, and that we've reported on just even in our own stories where I feel like people got away with a lot more crime back in those days, like 20 plus years, um, ahead of now because of maybe DNA testing or the lack thereof, shoddy detective work. I could.
Oh, sorry. For a second, it says Sade, like Sade detective work.
Sade detective
That would be an
work.
amazing series.
It would
Detective
be.
police starring
Sade.
Sade. He's like
She's got the
sultry
voice
and
for it.
sexy. Anyway,
Yeah,
yes, I hear you.
she'd be a great voiceover, but I feel like there's a resounding theme in people getting away with a lot more than they would now. Look how quickly they caught my little Luigi Mangione. I
Right.
mean, that took no time, and my baby's been in prison ever since.
God bless Luigi.
Yes. But no, I mean, it just seems like there's this recurring theme of people, and particularly in different places, like when something happens like in South Carolina, or to your point, I think it was South Carolina or something like that, and then you go cross state lines to Pennsylvania, and then it's the late 90s, so maybe they're not communicating with each
Right.
other, about, like, um I don't know. It just seems like it's a recurring theme that's sort of coming up with these things.
Yeah.
Just wasn't sure if you kind of tapped into that as well.
Yeah. And you know what's fascinating too, like on that note, it's like there's so much more information now, but still for this story, I couldn't find any updates really after
Right.
this initial run of news. So as far as
Hmm.
I know, Fant, who also went by the name Abdul Rahman Ali, is currently in prison in Pennsylvania, as far as I know. As far as I know, Dorothy Street's family is still waiting for justice. So is Annette Richson, who somehow lived through what no one should, right? In the end, Fant's spree carved its way across South Carolina, Georgia, four states: South Carolina, Florida, I'm sorry, Georgia, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. And interstates, rest stops, gas stations, isolated businesses, all of the terrifying things we're talking about in this limited series. And he was on a mission and believed he was like divinely inspired.
Wow.
So
And where was he originally from again? Do we know?
Tennessee. I don't know if he was like born and grew up there, but from what I could find, his home state was Tennessee.
Home state was
Yeah.
Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
Short but sweet, or not
And
so
just
sweet.
and just I've always I've always thought working in a gas station is a very, very, very dangerous job. And I always give props to people who do it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm always very kind to people who are working in gas stations because, like, of course, like I've always had a kinship with it. Like I've had my gas stations that I used to go to. This
Hmm.
was before I lived in New York,
Yeah.
but I would have my specific gas stations that I would go into. I would have my specific cigarettes that I would buy, the occasional lottery ticket, like
Your
those
pack of
sorts of
chewing
things.
gum. I always did Big Red back in the 90s.
Oh, Big Red.
That's
Yes,
still
back in the
around. I don't think
90s.
so. Maybe.
I don't know. That's a really good
I loved
question.
Big Red. It was sort of like spicy cinnamon.
That and double mint.
Yeah.
I like double mint as well. Are either of those still
What
available
about
for
Big
purchase?
League Chew? Remember that? It
Yes.
was supposed to be like tobacco, but for kids. And you could be
Yes,
just like your
yes.
favorite baseball player
Baseball
with mouth
player.
cancer. Chew this gum
Yes,
just like it's
yes.
tobacco.
It was just like the candy cigarettes I used to go
Which
get
I
at the
also, yeah,
store.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah. You had candy cigarettes too. I can't imagine that you
Oh
didn't.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely had
yeah.
that.
I remember my Mimi, like, who was my dad's mother. She was a very heavy smoker, shocking. And she used to let me like hold and flick her cigarettes whenever I was a kid, and I thought that that was the coolest thing. And she had this old, like, 60s glass, like antique type, I mean, which would be an antique type
I
ashtray
know.
now,
I
which
can picture
I
it.
It was round, it was gorgeous. I would give my left tit to have it right now, like, quite frankly, because it is so cool. And then she had, like, the cigarette pouch, where you carried your cigarettes and your lighter in it.
Hmm.
Oh my god, yeah. And she always smelled of Estee Lauder perfume.
Oh,
That
and
was
cigarettes probably.
and cigarettes. Oh, of course, cigarettes. Yeah, I think she smoked, like, probably it had to have been, like, 2 packs a day. Like, it had to have been. I mean, like, pretty much every moment she was awake, she was smoking,
They were
which
much
is
cheaper back then.
they were much cheaper back then, much less expensive, and I feel like smoking was a little more sophisticated back then as
It's
well.
it was. It's sort of flipped because I used to be more expensive and now I'm cheaper.
Oh my god.
But back to the gas stations. Yes, terrifying, always terrifying, no matter where they are. In the
Mhm.
city, in the
I
suburbs.
don't care. I don't care where you are
But
in this
this one,
yeah.
Josh and I pulled off.
Have you seen this gas station?
So
Or did they close it after all of this
I feel
happened?
like we pulled off the interstate at that exit and went to a gas station. I don't know if it was the gas station, but I do remember it really is very rural. So even pulling off there, it's not like you're pulling off into a shopping center with a gas station. It's like just a gas station and a bunch of trees. So really remote, and it was February that time of year. So it's like frigid out like in the mountains in Pennsylvania and possibly snowy. It must just be
Yeah.
so like dark and isolated and terrifying to have this person walk in with a machete
Yeah.
and and
Oh.
and you're not even in your own country.
And a machete. I gotta tell you, for the US, that is such a random weapon. Like, they have them all over the Dominican Republic, but the Dominican Republic, they don't have guns. I mean, they do, of course, in the larger cities and stuff like that, but they don't have the gun problem that we have here.
Yeah,
Like,
keep
everything
talking.
here.
I'm stepping up to let the dog in, but I'm here. I'm here with you.
Yeah. Like, I feel like in the UK, let's say for instance, they always have like, or in Europe, they have knifing incidents, right? Like, it always seems it's like somebody's going around with a knife. Like, no one's going to, well, I mean, yes, it can happen. People go around with guns, but here it's like someone takes an AK-47 and just wipes out like 20 people real quick. A machete is an interesting choice, I guess I should say, for someone in the US.
Yeah, that's so like intimidating of all the weapons. It's like Jason. It's
Yeah.
like Friday the 13th level terrifying.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in an enclosed space, so you're already cornered. It's like a knife is terrifying and a gun is terrifying, but there's something about a machete that just is so severe. And I guess if you see a knife, you're like, God, maybe he'll like stab around my kidney or around my heart and I'll survive. But someone with a machete is, I mean, beheading, you know what I mean?
Mhm. I have a machete in the Dominican Republic, actually.
Really? Have you beheaded? Oh, tell us your beheading story.
Oh, I was just curious if you had ever seen anybody beheaded, like watch the beheading videos like back in the day where like everything was happening like in
Around the
Iraq and
9/11 type.
yeah, that sort of time frame. Like
No,
I would say,
I saw they were available to me and I chose not to watch them. But I
well,
did. Did you see one?
I did. I did. And it was it was terrible. I mean, I've watched that, and I've watched one of somebody who they locked in a cage and burned alive.
Mm-mm.
That was worse.
Yeah,
I would say that was worse
yeah,
because the beheading one
it's
was
immediate.
is really fast, or it was really fast, and you could the thing that really bothered me more than anything was like you could hear like kind of like a whistling coming out of like their
Oh
esophagus.
God.
because you have air coming out of your body
Yeah.
if you are, if you're, think about if you're beheaded,
It's like your last
like,
breath.
yeah, yeah. So you could hear like their last breath going out,
I
which was
never thought
crazy.
about that.
Yeah. But the burning alive one was just, I mean, you could see the agony that the person was in. And I mean, do I mean, it was one of those, what did they call those types of videos when,
Snuff?
um
Is it like a
well, I
snuff
know it's
film?
that's yeah, well, that's like porn, I think more so. Snuff films are like, or no, they're not.
Well, it's like
Um,
they're dead.
Propaganda. No, it was
Oh,
propaganda.
yes,
It was
yes.
it was like a propaganda thing that ISIS did for
Yes.
both of
That's right,
them.
yeah.
So it was kind of one of those like, this is a prisoner that I have. This is what's going to happen to you if you don't adhere to our rules or whatever. And both of them were propaganda videos that I watched, that I I got to watch them, or I had the opportunity to watch them before they were blocked online.
Yeah,
And they were immensely disturbing, to say the least.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I told you last week, but I get targeted now with, like, shark attack videos, which is also really disturbing, and I can't look. It's like a car crash, I can't look away. And then I got one yesterday or the day before that was a king cobra, and it was
Oh,
in India. So sort of related to our Avinash.
right.
I
Yes.
don't know what part of India he's from. Oh no, he was from Delhi. Um, but this video is this guy in bed, and he's filming. Across his legs is this big snake, and then he pans over, and you can see it's a cobra.
Fuck
And
that.
it comes back across his legs the other direction, and then disappears up into, like, he has like a pile of junk, not dissimilar from my house right now. And so he like pans to himself, and he's like sort of like grinning about it, like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Hands back around, and the snake sees him. Like, you see the snake see him, and then it lifts up,
Fuck no.
and then it cuts off. And from what I read, and who knows what's real, you don't know what you're reading. From what I read, he was able to, like, get out before it.
Oh my god.
But I had nightmares when I first moved to Arizona. I had nightmares about rattlesnakes being in the room, and
Yeah.
scorpions, and
I always keep my toilet seat down, only because it's more sanitary, but
yeah,
also because like I am terrified that I'm going to open it sometime and there's going to be a snake or something in there.
yeah.
And not like a big piece of poop snake.
Ew, Amanda,
That's
that's
disgusting.
forbidden.
But yes, forbidden. But you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you've seen like these videos of people like who've had snakes come through their plumbing or something like that. Nope.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No. Mm-mm. Can't. I can't.
Mm.
Not happening.
No,
Oh, yeah,
too
yeah.
much.
Yes. Too much.
Well, do you have anything else? We didn't really talk about Memorial Day. I mean, honestly, you asked earlier. We didn't. We had Megan over, our friend Megan, who was on an episode last year around this time, maybe.
We should have her back sometime soon. I feel like it's been some time since we've had a guest.
Yeah, she can dish some shit on me. It would be hilarious, I'm sure. But we had her over. We got in the pool. We had steaks. I went to Baskin Robbins and got an ice cream cake
Oh,
highlight,
very nice.
and then we just
Very
worked in the yard.
nice. Yeah,
Did you worked on your wardrobe? Did you do anything fun?
I did. I worked on the wardrobe. My closet is now like pretty much set. It's as set as it's ever going to be. I purged. I threw out a lot of stuff. Like if something didn't fit me properly, it went. And I'm not by any means, well, you've seen my place. Like, I'm not by any means a hoarder,
No,
but I have a very difficult time getting rid of clothing because I'm always
I've
like,
seen all your shoes.
oh, yeah, oh, I might wear those. There's going to be an opportunity for me to wear those
Crotchless
this
panties.
summer. Crotchless panties somewhere. Like, when is that going to happen?
Next time you go to
May-
church, who knows?
Yeah, or Miami Velvets. Who knows?
Yes, the swingers club.
Yes, yes. So I feel it is incumbent upon me for our listeners to actually go and scope that place out just to see what it's all about.
Inquiring minds must know.
I know. Maybe you should come back out here and we should do an on location there. I mean, I know
Oh,
we can't, I mean, they probably take your cell phones when you get there, but we could do like this is what I personally experienced there
yeah, just a retelling of, yeah,
of the stories of yore.
the swinging
Um,
of Miami Velvet.
yeah. I kind of feel like we missed an opportunity with that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's still time.
Yeah.
You didn't make
Yeah.
it to Raccoon Island, I guess.
Oh, no, no, I did not because my Saturday and Sunday was dedicated. It got overwhelming very quickly with regards to me
Yeah,
pulling all of the stuff out of my closet and then having to sort through it and then put it back in
right.
and not having like remorse of what I was getting rid of and that sort of thing. But met a couple great guys from the UK out. Just wanted to give a shout out to them because they actually asked about our podcast. So I'm hopeful that they're listening. So there was Tiernan from Ireland.
Yeah,
Such an Irish
so
name,
Irish,
right?
yes. Hello, Tiernan.
Yes, and Kyle from Scotland.
Okay. I do
Um,
love a Scotsman.
I know, I know. I thought about you the entire time that I was talking to them, but I want to give them a shout out because they were actually very cool. They both live in London now, and they both work for the same company, so they have become friends through working together, and then traveled to Miami together.
Lovers or just friends?
No, just friends, just friends, and so yeah, one of them astutely noticed my Depeche Mode tattoo
Oh,
right off the bat, and I was like, and they said, "Enjoy the silence," and I was like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Do you like Depeche Mode?" And I was like,
the answer
"Obviously,
is obviously.
yes, yes." And I got to tell you, they were quite a bit younger than me, so I want to give them a massive shout out for calling out Depeche Mode on me,
Yeah,
like because that's cool as fuck,
yeah. I love when people
you
know their
know?
history. I do. I know who
Yeah.
came before me. I know who paved the way, who set the
Yes.
tone,
Yes.
started the discos.
Precisely.
Yes, I love
Precisely.
that.
So I was it was very nice to meet them. And what's interesting is I hate to say this because I feel like I'm working with a lot of people who are younger these days and that sort
Mm,
of thing.
yes.
And I want to say that these guys from the UK seem much more mature than
The locals.
the locals. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
And so
maybe it's a London, you know?
yeah, maybe it's a London thing, but
New York.
like
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, New York, man. I think there are a lot of bros there,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't bros. Like I wasn't witnessing them in their normal environment. They may have been in very good behavior because they thought they were around their auntie Manda or something like that, which
You know what?
I
Give me
doubt.
a Scotsman in New York City. I'm picturing a kilt. I'm picturing a subway, just like a Marilyn Monroe scene, but with a
Yes.
Scotsman.
Yes. With a really big
Right? Show me that log. You know that log thing that they do? Where they throw those logs? Be a Scotsman, a kilt, a
exactly.
breeze, and a log.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I felt that they were a bit more mature than that age range
Then
of
me.
than myself. But no, very very cool guys. Really enjoyed meeting them, and hope they're listening to the podcast because one actually reached out to me afterwards and asked about the podcast, so I sent it to him.
Well, I hope he's watching right now. Hello.
Me
And also,
too.
I just want to say, I keep meaning to call this out, but the way that you're positioned in your camera, you're obviously further back from your camera, but for some reason I feel like monster. Like I'm really big in the screen.
I'll come up.
Yeah, see, there you are.
Oh, there I am.
You look so demure, so tiny,
Do
except
I
for the bra,
do I need to
arguably.
put do I need to give a little more close under boob? I think I was just being more casual laying back in my chair.
Yeah.
You know, I am a little high right now.
Well, good for you. You have dinner.
Yeah.
You have like dinner plans or something coming up in a little bit, huh?
Oh no, it's just the Knicks game. I was like
That's what you were going to cut me off for? A sports match.
a sports match. Well, we have plenty of
No
time,
one,
so
no one cares about tip off. Is that what it's called? Is it tip off?
it is. It
Cut.
is the tip
Oh,
off.
I fucking nailed it.
Just the tip off.
Number one sports fan right here.
Yes, yes. So I'm collecting, I'm collecting people from the UK everywhere. So whenever you and I decide to broadcast live from the UK,
Hmm.
we'll have little friends that we can go see,
When we do our
you know.
first tour, international
Yeah.
tour.
International tour. Yes. We'll be able to go and see all of these people that I'm collecting.
Give me an international. I don't want to do a road trip across because we're going to end up beheaded in a gas station or something.
What it would end up like is it would end up like on AbFab when they went to France.
Oh my gosh. Guess what I just watched last night? No,
AbFab, that
but
actual episode.
no, there's actually like a one-off like 60-minute thing from I probably like 2015 or something. I don't know. But it's Joanna Lumley and why can't I think of her name? Jennifer Saunders.
Thank you, God. That just like I can't believe I can't remember that because
It's because you're high.
I actually dated somebody with the last name of Saunders once, and I thought it was so cool because I was like, what if I end up being Amanda Saunders?
Yeah, maybe related at that.
Maybe related at that point. Yes.
So yeah, I just watched last night on BBC Select. There's an like this one-off 60-minute episode. This is like a standalone where they go to France together as Jennifer
Themselves.
as themselves. Thank you. And they go on like a champagne tour,
That's
and it
amazing.
is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
What was that on?
BBC Select on. I'd watch it through Amazon Prime.
BBC Select. Do you have to pay for that extra on Amazon Prime or is it a part of it?
I paid for it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to pay for it because I want to watch that Joanna Lumley show. And then if I can watch anything with she and Jennifer Saunders on it, I'm totally going to do it.
There, it's just like any of the others. There's like a 7-day free trial. So pick a time when you've like, it's like a 4th of July weekend or when you have like a long weekend, and just like binge it all and then cancel it or
Hmm.
don't if you don't want to.
Have I told you that I think that I'm
Pregnant.
researching medical still? Medical still, not pregnant. No, absolutely not. Um, I saw a great meme the other day that was like, sometimes I cringe when I'm paying $25 for a cocktail and then I remember it's not baby formula and then I'm okay with myself. And I'm like, that's true. I guess that's true. But I'm doing research. I think I may get my facelift in Colombia
Oh,
rather than the United States because it's less expensive. The doctors are apparently better. They have a more natural aesthetic when it comes to like facelifts. Like, I feel like everybody here is starting to look exactly the same, like,
yeah.
quite frankly. And I want I don't want like a situation where I don't look by like myself. I want to look just refreshed, you know.
Hmm.
And with the, all, which you can do the same thing here, but it costs exponentially more. You can get like aftercare that includes, staying at a really nice hotel for a few
Bring a
days.
plus one, and it's me.
Yeah, so I'm like doing some heavy research on it right now, and I'm thinking about maybe pulling the trigger for myself for my 50th birthday coming up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean that's like a year from now, but we would go to Medellin, Colombia,
mhm.
and I would love for you to be a. I mean, you could be just like, "Are you okay, Amanda? You doing okay? Okay, I'm going
I'll
out."
record everything. We'll document every step of your recovery.
Oh my God, that recovery is going to be a lot
Yeah.
because I've already had surgery. I've already done my boobs, and
Mhm.
that was a reduction, listeners. That was not. I don't have a boob job. All these are all
They
natural.
were huge before.
They were huge
She
before.
couldn't even. She was hunched over. She looked like a coffee table. She couldn't even stand up straight.
Excuse me, Blake. That was a
Cocktail
cocktail
table.
table. I'm a bit more sophisticated than the coffee table. I hope.
You're an end table because that's where you take it
That's
in
right.
the end. Just like we all get it in the end.
We all get it in the end. Well, your story was amazing tonight, and thank you. Yeah, that what a great way to kick off the series. That was actually really. It's actually a very sad story. I mean, the
I
guy had
know.
only been here for a few months.
Yeah, I said terrible.
Land of opportunity, right?
Right. Yeah. God bless America. God damn it.
Hmm.
Do you have any little like fun like factoid teaser things that you want to give us about your upcoming episode?
Sure. I can do one. Montana.
Terrifying already.
Yes. Billboard,
Oh.
like a highway
Like
billboard, if you
Angeline the
will.
Billboard Queen. If you're in Los Angeles, you get it.
And stabbing.
Stabbing. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
can't wait.
yeah, yeah. So they're billboard. Like it's so funny, like because you don't see billboards that much anymore, but LA is just like chock full of them.
Advertisements everywhere. Hollywood is
Hmm.
just one big advertisement.
How was your trip to Hollywood, by the way? Los Angeles, whatever. Didn't you go last week, or
Yeah.
am I making that up?
Yeah. It was good. We did the Jessica Alba shoot, and she was sweet. She let us in graciously, invited us into her home,
Oh,
and
lovely.
her at least one of her children was there. I think she has more than one. I don't know. And they
Yes,
all
I
look
think
the
she has
same.
three.
Oh, okay. Maybe they were all
Mhm.
there, and they all look. Kids all look the same to me, you know.
No, I get it. I get it.
Um, but they seemed sweet. At least one of them did.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, it was a quick in and out. She was gracious with her time. She gave us, a little bit more than we asked for, which is always a wonderful thing. And we're gonna have an amazing fundraiser for Baby to Baby this year. So it was good. Oh, and we're getting closer to two more signatures, so I'll be able to talk more about them before our horror movie campaign fundraiser that we do every year.
Yes.
We got one signature today. We're waiting on a counter signature, which is on our side to execute it. So I can't really share it yet, but we have two pretty big names. Well, yes, big names in horror and beyond. So I'll be
That
able to
is
share that soon.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, people are listening to us, they're watching us. Where can they continue to do these things?
Well, they can continue to watch us and listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts at The Forbidden Pod.
Rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes, do rate, review, and subscribe. Talk to us. We wanna know some things about you. Like, have you had any weird stories where, or creepy stories where you've been at a rest stop
Have
or a
you
gas
been
station?
have you been beheaded? Tell us
Yes.
about it.
Have you had a machete come at you by chance? We would love to hear about it at hello@theforbiddenpod.com. You can follow us on the social sphere on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok at the Forbidden Pod. And if you want to go to our wildly unupdated website, www.theforbiddenpod.com.
But so is our social media, to be honest.
Yeah, our social media is a little sad
Hmm.
as well. But we know you love us on YouTube, so keep watching us on YouTube. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, we love you there for sure.
Drop your comments and email us those scary stories. Did you already say hello at theforbiddenpod.com?
I sure did.
Listen, I was taking a drink and I wasn't paying any attention to you.
But also send us your nudes. Send us your nudes.
Send your story with attachments.
I know we've worked on those summer bodies. Those summer bodies are great. We don't even need to see your whole summer body. We just need to see a section of you.
Yeah, just that one section, front
Yeah.
or back. I'm
Yes.
down for either. We're versatile here at Forbidden.
Oh, and for that, listeners, we always
Thank
thank
you.
you.